What is up, internet world? We are driven live again, episode 2. We had just like everything we talk about in this show, there were some difficulties getting online, but we got it sorted out. We got it figured out, and we're coming to you live tonight. I'm in Nevada. One of our guests is up in Wyoming, and another one's hidden over in a little tiny corner of California / Nevada. But super excited about today's show. It's episode 2, and we are just getting the wheels turning on this thing. But we're gonna invite one of our friends, somebody I personally look up to. Just some of the accomplishments I've learned about him and seen him do over the last couple of years. I'm super excited to talk to him about mindset, about having a good time, and about trying to stay positive through any sort of solutions. He's a serial entrepreneur, if you will, master fabricator, and honestly, there really isn't much that he won't take on because he's got the right mindset, the driven mindset. So I'm going to throw him up on the screens now. For those of you watching live, you'll get to see us. If you're catching the audio afterwards when we post this to podcast, play along, man. We're going to have some fun tonight and just ask some questions and have a great conversation with some friends. So here we go. Let's bring all the crew on. Boom. Do we have everybody?
What's going on?
There is a success here. Oh my goodness. So I want to start before we introduce anybody. I want to just say, you guys on Facebook, give us a sound check if you will. But so I got on to start kicking this live off on my computer. It had to reset and it took forever. So I jumped on my phone, got everybody invited. Cody, the co-host, he then hit computer problems, got him overcame. He jumped on his phone quick. I'm on my phone because of the computer issues. And our guest, who's literally never been on Facebook Live unless Cameron, his buddy, had his face on Facebook Live, he got it 100% right. He was there on time, even though we told him like 2 hours. We told him it was at 9 o'clock. It was at 7. So, man, we're overcoming obstacles. We're having some fun. But again, guys, I want to introduce our co-host, Cody Hunt. How you doing this evening, buddy?
Good, man. That was a super stressful situation there for a second, but we're good now, dude. And I'm feeling good. How are you feeling? You feeling good? Feeling better than last week?
Man, I'm feeling so much better than last week. I had my whole body is just going through so much with all the rehab and the work at 75 hard I'm putting it on. I tweaked a muscle kind of up underneath my shoulder blade, and it just catastrophically started to roll up my neck and into my back. Got it taken care of. I've been adding it to my routine. I just take care of the muscle that's inflamed, and the other ones are starting to relax. So, feeling much better this week. Thank you.
Good, man. I'm stoked for that. Last week you were definitely a little rough, and I'm glad we pushed through last week. And now we're here, sitting here with Ryan Phillips. Let's introduce Ryan. Ryan, what's your lifestyle? What are you doing?
What's going on, guys? Not much, man. I'm just, sitting here. Bunch of things going on in my life, so it's been pretty hectic. But I'm coming to you from my new makeshift garage for now. The Tahoe Throttle Garage is kind of behind me for the moment, so we're working on building a new one. But here it is. Here I am. So stoked to be here. Thanks for having me.
For sure, dude. We're stoked you're here. I mean, the new shop looks like it's pretty clutch for what it is right now, and two-car garage. It's a little different than my big shop, but we're making do. We got everything squeezed in here. We got the essentials. We don't use garages for cars around here. That's a waste. So right. And sled season's coming, so I imagine you're just balls deep over there.
So guys, I'm gonna jump in here right now and do a little audience check because I have major delays in your sound. I don't know if the audience has that or not, but it's robotic and a little bit delayed. I'm not sure if the technical difficulties are continuing on.
I'm hearing Cody good. I think he's hearing me okay, so hopefully it's just you. Yeah, it's just you. You're frozen in time.
Well, I can make do with what we got in the circumstances. I'm going to jump in right now also and say, Ryan, I just got to meet you really over the last couple of years. We rode together on the snow, and we'll get into a little bit of what you do. But I want to take a second to introduce my audience to you and Cody's audience to you. Over the last couple of years, man, I have to say, just from meeting you, nicest dude. You welcomed your home to me. Didn't really know me, and then over the last couple of years, we've been able to establish that in that relationship. We kind of got acquainted like right as I ramped down the show last year and a half ago or so, and I really wanted to get you on here. So I'm really excited, super stoked to have you on the second episode here. And I can see maybe circling back with you in the future, because I know we could sit here for 3 hours and have one heck of a good conversation.
Oh yeah, there's no lack of interesting things to talk about, I'm sure. So, are you getting your audio figured out there, Scott? You're still kind of in cyberspace a little bit.
I got a delay like crazy. Hopefully the audience does.
Well, I just checked my phone.
Says it sounds clean, so it must be mine.
Yeah, audience says everything looks good, and it's looking still good. So as long as we can work through this delay, us three, I think we'll be okay.
Cool.
So, Scott, what's the show about tonight?
The show's always, man, fundamentals. It's about mindset. It's about your network. And I really want to touch with Ryan, and I think he can give some great insight on this, is when we're faced with problems, when we're faced with situations, a lot of times seeing on the other side of them is the most challenging part. I know Ryan's a master fabricator, builder, creator. He literally can take a vision in his head and turn it into something absolutely amazing. So I want to capture tonight, maybe some of the things, the fundamentals, the principles behind how, Ryan, you work through, seemingly extremely challenging situations to create projects like maybe Sled Zeppelin, or build any of the number of buildings you've created that are absolutely amazing, and basically take things that people say that you can't do and you turn them into reality. That's where the value is in this, I think. What about you, Cody?
I fully agree. That was the first thing I had written down right here was Sled Zeppelin. So let's touch on that a little bit. Ryan, what was that all about, man? Like, you just built this ungodly sled hauler.
Well, yeah. First, I just want to say thanks. That's some extremely kind words coming from you guys, and I really appreciate that stuff. But a lot of it is not, I think, seeing the problem and overcoming it. A lot of people dwell on that. I try not to even look at the problem. Something my old man told me growing up actually was, there's no problems, there's only solutions. So if you don't look at something like, okay, we got a problem, it's a lot easier to figure it out. And then it's just a matter of breaking it down, one piece at a time. I mean, if you take a big build like Sled Zeppelin and you go, okay, start to finish, it's going to require all these things. Of course, you got to think about all the things that go into a build like that, or into a project of any kind like that. So that you don't miss something. But the main thing is you got to kind of break it off in chunks and start in pieces. So, from there we did the chassis and all the framing. And then from there you go to the inside design. And we never really had a full blueprint. And that's, I seem to do that a lot with even my sled builds, pretty much anything I do. You gotta compartmentalize it. You gotta section it off into pieces that you can chew, so to speak, and a small bite at a time. And I think if you do that, it's a lot easier to, complete the project.
Fully agreed, dude. Fully agreed. And, you know, I kind of feel like you're always setting yourself up to win, right?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly don't want to set myself up to lose. You know, there always is a lot. I mean, that would be kind of counterproductive, and that's the opposite of what I try and do. I try and be as productive as possible. Anybody that knows me, I rarely sit still. I have a hard time taking days off. So it's it's just one foot in front of the other with the things that you can do every day. And even if it's baby steps, I mean, I'm looking at Scott's story recently, and here he is. We're going into sled season, and he just had his shoulder surgery, and I mean, that to me, that's like, man, are you going to be able to come back from that? Are you going to be able to be ready to ride? And I talked to him today, and he's like, man, I'm going to be able to. It's going to be some hard work, but I'm 100% confident I'm going to be ready. Come late December. And that's awesome because I mean, I've been there. Shoulder surgery sucks. And I've done that game. So that's what it is. It's effort in and effort out.
Yeah. Scott's story right now is, I mean, very inspiring, shoulder surgery, and he's still on track to be on the snow mid-December. I think that's huge. That's a big mindset to overcome because a lot of people lay down and they don't really get after it when it comes to surgeries and stuff like that. They kind of just lay down and let it heal. But he's doing that physical therapy and really pushing himself to where he can be on the snow this upcoming winter. And that's really inspiring for me.
For sure. No, me too. I've gotten the same feeling just watching his stories. It's pretty awesome to see. And that's exactly the mindset is, it's not a problem. It's a solution. Okay. Yeah. You got shoulder surgery and winter's coming up. We're going to tackle this and I'm going to be ready.
What are you showing us, Scott? Scott, you still out there in outer space, bud?
We've lost Scott.
Scott's gone. He wanted to show us something. I'm not sure what it was.
I'm not either.
I'm gonna jump in quick here. I'm kind of watching the live and listening on my other phone. Thank you guys for picking up.
I don't know what Scott's laughing about right now.
All right. Well, we'll just keep rolling. Scott's the co-host.
Yeah. So with Sled Zeppelin, Ryan, the passion that you have to have behind a project like that, it's in, and the amount of time that you guys built Sled Zeppelin was kind of ungodly, man. You guys had that thing done in what, a year and a half?
That was 6 months, actually.
6 months.
Yeah, and I think we could have done it quicker if we actually took a vacation, went out kind of Midwest and did some other things. But I mean, we hit it pretty hard. We probably could have done it faster had we not taken a little time for ourselves. But you got to do that. And 6 months was that was a push. And we're still, to be all honest, we're still, fine tuning some things, and it's about 95% now, but she's ready to hit the road, man. If winter doesn't come here, we're going to go find it. And, if it does, then it'll be here in the local parking lot too. So
I feel like first stop should be Alpine.
It's on the list. I mean, absolutely Alpine, 100%. We're hitting Alpine. So that'll be awesome. We'll definitely be parking in your driveway. That's not a question.
Absolutely, dude. You're more than welcome. You know that. Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say a lot of people don't know when you were just out here visiting, kind of the way it happened was you were dropping in on your brother and you called me and you're like, hey man, I'm in the middle of Nevada. I'm coming to see my brother. And I had to be like, no, you're not. Your brother's on an airplane right now. I was trying to surprise him. He just got on an airplane. He's headed out. So anyways, you ended up staying with me, which was super cool. But I don't have the biggest place when I was living above the barn there. So you ended up staying in Sled Zeppelin. And I think you're like the first person to really try it out. Even before myself, we slept in it, but you really camped in it for a few days, and that was pretty cool. So
yeah, dude, I was just super stoked that opportunity happened because, like you said, I was just straight up coming down to Tahoe to surprise my brother. 2 hours out, I'm like, my brother's not there. What? Okay, well, Ryan, I'm dropping in on you then, buddy. And you just opened me with open arm, or you just welcomed me with open arms and let us stay in Sled Zeppelin. And dude, it was just an amazing experience. And that whole setup of Sled Zeppelin is just good vibes. And you guys set it up so perfect. And it's literally just house, shop, garage setup all in one. Super stoked, dude. It was rad.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be fun, man. I mean, to be honest, we didn't really have it all ready end of last season, totally dialed in, it kind of it pushed in to late last year, and so we didn't really release it last winter. So we're gonna hit it hard this year with the release of it, and we're gonna really tour it around. And it's one thing to see it. It's pretty amazing to see it in a video or whatever. People are always pretty stoked, but it's a whole nother deal when you actually step foot in it and you're like, man, this was a school bus. That's even for me still, and I built the thing, so it's pretty awesome.
So before I came out there, like you just said, I had a general idea of what that thing was, but until I saw it in person, I didn't realize how massive that project actually was. I mean, you guys literally took a Bluebird school bus, right? Bluebird.
Yeah.
And just built this amazing project out of it. If anyone hasn't seen it, check it out. It's kind of mind blowing. And it was still to this day, I'm blown away by it, dude.
Awesome, man. I'm stoked to hear that because that was a decent amount of work, and it ended up being really cool. It's an awesome project, so I'm pretty pumped that people feel that way. And even when we're driving down the road, people are like, "What in the fuck is that thing? Like, what is that?" Like, and it's pissed off, man. It's underpowered. It's a 5.9 Cummins on a 26,000 pound. Hey, Scott, welcome back.
Welcome back from space, buddy.
Yeah. So yeah, he's here. So it's not going to win any speed awards, that's for sure. But you're going to hear that girl coming down the road, and she's dialed in now. Got a couple good mechanic buddies of mine. We got her dialed in, so she's running good and she's ready to hit the road. I haven't gone further than about, there he goes again.
He's gone.
He's gone further than about probably 50 or 60 miles in the thing, to be honest, at a time. And so far we haven't had any issues, but I'm really, really stoked to, let's go 2 days. Let's do a 10-hour trip to Alpine, and let's see. It'd probably be more like 14 or 15 in that thing, but let's get it out there and let's see. Let's break down in the middle of nowhere and see what happens. Hopefully that's not the case, but.
Well, with the tools that you have on board on that thing.
It all depends, man. If it breaks down, I hope it doesn't. We've done everything to prevent that now, and everything that we could possibly find on the thing to potentially be an issue. So I hope that doesn't happen, but we're going to send it either way. It'll be an adventure, and that's the fun part of it, I guess.
Yeah, that's definitely for sure. You never know when it comes to the sledding industry where you're going to end up or what you're doing tomorrow.
Same with snowmobiling. You could be 10, 15 miles in the backcountry, and who knows what happens. I broke my bogey wheels a couple years ago way out in the backcountry, and that was interesting, Deep powder day when you can barely get anywhere, let alone
trying to double out with somebody, it's always an adventure. So it's cool. I'm into it.
Yeah. Definitely had many experiences like that. Definitely had to pull my motor out of my sled a couple times in the backcountry because the sled wasn't coming out of the area that it was in. And those experiences, man, they straight up fuel us as snowmobilers and backcountry athletes, because you never really know what's going to happen next. And it's really cool and it's really enjoyable. Those good days are definitely overpowered by the bad days, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta take them one at a time. I mean, you're gonna have both. That's life.
Exactly.
You're gonna have both. So it's how you overcome them. I mean, if you have to swap a motor out in the backcountry, then to get out or to get your sled out, then you got to swap a motor in the backcountry. I mean, what are you gonna do? So
you're just gonna accept what it is and you're gonna do it.
Yeah, I mean, you have to, right?
It goes back to that whole passion thing that I was asking about earlier, or talking about coming into Sled Zeppelin. The passion is just unreal. And, the passion is fire in your eyes for sure. I mean, look at what you're doing right now as a short term, just to make sure that, Tahoe Throttle doesn't go away and snowmobiling doesn't go away. I mean, you're short terming things right now and you're going to move forward in a much bigger and better way.
Yeah, that's the goal, man. Always push forward, always keep elevating. Otherwise you're just kind of doing the everyday grind, and I don't do that well. So it's always trying to just one up it with anything. And Scott's been super, super inspirational. Like I said, even with his, doing the fitness, it's kind of like, man, I need to start getting ready for sled season. I've been so busy. I've been pushing some of that off, but that's a key factor. And that and preparation. I mean, I'm in this 2-car garage now, where I was in a giant shop before with every tool at my disposal. So building sleds in here, it's doable. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it happen. But it is what it is. We're tight as it is, as you can see. So.
Yeah, but that's all good, man. As long as you don't lose that fire and passion, you just keep pushing forward. There's nothing that can stop you. You just keep that driven mindset. It's like, the conversations we had when I was in Tahoe, I was pretty down on myself when I was out there, but the conversations I had with you were very inspiring, and seeing Sled Zeppelin and what you can actually do in such a short amount of time, dude, it's inspiring. It's rad. And I feel like, it definitely helped me in a lot of ways. And that's why I called Scott today. And I was like, dude, we're having Ryan on today. Today's going to be a good day to have Ryan on.
Well, yeah, that was an unexpected phone call, but I'm into it. I'm all about that mindset, and that whole mentality of what the show's about is totally what I try and live every day. So, I mean, it fits me perfectly. I'm all on board with it. So.
Yeah, for sure. People are popping in on the comments right now. Where'd Scott go? Scott went to outer space. He'll be back next week, I think.
The black hole swallowed Scott. Yeah. So I'm not too sure. Oh, there he is again.
All right, let's do a sound check with Scott real quick. Scott, can we hear you?
Can you hear me now? I'm live.
Yes, you are live.
Dude, this is so funny. So here I am, so I was trying to show you, I can watch on another phone I have and hear, but it was so delayed on the screen here, I couldn't talk while you guys were talking. So anyway, I'm sitting right next to my Wi-Fi router, just the laundry list of things I've encountered today that make my day interesting. But hey, man, it's like I did hear you guys saying about rolling with stuff. Things come, and I could be frustrated as heck right now and have given up. But, your boys, and Cody, I talked to you about this in our first episode. You guys picked right up, man. That was so fun to watch happen.
We're friends. It's like that's a conversation just between two friends, I guess. Now between 3 friends. Now that you're back, that's what this is.
It's good to be back, man.
Yeah, no,
we're
it's good to have you.
we're rolling it. So I heard you guys right here as I was getting it figured out. You're talking about my fitness routine and things I'm doing to get ready for the snow and the season. I get a lot of people asking me about that 75 hard deal and why I'm even doing it. And honestly, Ryan, it's kind of like the same thing you did with Sled Zeppelin. It was something I had never done before, and I had never I've never held myself to this standard. And I figure the worst thing that could happen I would probably learn something along the way. And holy crap, have I learned a lot. So, I mean, it's not just going to the gym and running. To me, it's more of a mental, because it's all mental, man. You take your builds, Cody, you take the work you do in the backcountry and on the project and the shop and everything. You think so much, I would say, as a fabricator, that you think you create with your hands and the machine or the tool you're using, but in reality it's all based off your mind telling you can do it or you can't do it, or that little voice inside your head saying, no, take it easy today, man, your knees are wrecked, your shoulder, you deserve a break. And it's not about pushing yourself to where you're going to be hurting yourself or building yourself into a corner. It's just the simple task of telling myself I can do it. And even though when I said I don't have time, like, I've made time, I've made it fit. I mean, I already got my clothes set out. I did that right when I first got home because I knew I was going to run late tonight. So I set up my clothes to run in the morning. So now I have no excuses. The first thing I do when I walk out of my bed, I see those clothes and I can snap it in my brain. It's time to go to work.
That's awesome. That's killer. That's self-discipline. And there's a guy that I look up to a lot. His name's Jocko Willink. And I don't know if you guys know who that is, but
I'm reading his book right now.
Yeah, he's an absolute savage. And it's a lot about accountability and no excuses. And, everybody finds themselves producing excuses for why they can't do this or that, or why I can't build that, or, if it's money or this. I mean, the reality is you absolutely can. You just got to do it. And that guy, his posts are unreal. If you guys don't know who that is, you got to look him up, because I don't know if you bring something up, Scott, to show him the link of that page, but that guy, he's huge in my life, and there's no bullshit. It's the only way to say it. There's no bullshit.
There is no bullshit. He's got, so if you guys aren't familiar with it, he's talking about Jocko Willink, Navy SEAL, trainer, leader, mindset coach. Now he's moved into the echelon front. He's got a business consulting firm, podcast. Look up Jocko podcast. He's got a couple books out. I'm on the Dichotomy of Leadership, the second book after his first book. Ryan, it's pretty cool to hear that you're listening to that kind of stuff. That just it really reaffirms.
Yeah, I mean, I saw him
always.
I mean, not always, I guess, but I always try and focus more on those positive things if you can, and not to say that you don't slip here and there and start thinking other ways, but anything positive like that, I try and fill my brain with that kind of positivity. And Jocko, I saw him at a TED Talks actually in Reno at the GSR randomly. I think I was at the GSR for one reason or another. It was a North Star event when I was working there, and there was a TED Talks event the next morning, and he was one of the guest stars, one of the speakers. And I was like, no way. I had no idea. I read his little intro, Navy SEAL, commander of some special forces. And I was like, this guy might be cool to hear. And he talked in this audience, and it was like, dude, it was mesmerizing. That guy, he can capture you. And just his enthusiasm and his passion was pretty cool. And ever since then, I followed him on Instagram, and I've read, one of his books. I haven't read the book you're reading though. I read the first one, which was all in black and white. It's not even really a book. It's super cool. So
nice. I want to touch on it. because this is a conversation I had with somebody else, and it's going to take on kind of two paths here. So bear with me a little bit. Earlier, I reached out to Cody, and he's like, "Hey, what sort of things do we want to touch on tonight?" And I was like, "Well, what if we talk about if you're faced with either a situation that you can't get past, or you have a big goal you want to accomplish, or you have something that you want to take on, something new, something exciting. If you keep that bottled in, it doesn't really go anywhere until you start to verbalize it and make it happen. So that's kind of thought number one, and I might get kind of sidetracked here, but thought number two is people like listening to Jocko Willink and reading that type of book and taking in that type of material. You can almost use it negatively to where, it's like he's pointing out all these high level, be this, don't accept anything else. And there's ways to get to it, but you feel almost inadequate, if that's the right word, if you're not really at a level to take that in. And I see people kind of struggle with that, and I've had conversations with people that becomes an issue. So two things here, and I want to kind of bounce it off Cody and then let Ryan take it for a little bit. So if somebody's in a position where they go hear Jocko Willink, or they pick up any book, or they have not a problem, but a thing like Sled Zeppelin, a build that is so big, and they want to prove to themselves they can do it, take it on and get there. What are some real life things, Cody, you with high altitude power sports, I mean, Ryan with everything, and you guys may have talked about this when I was already off the screen. How do you take things that are bigger than your brain can comprehend and turn them around and actually start chiseling away at them and doing them?
Commitment.
You just said it. You chisel, small bites.
Nothing great happens overnight. I mean, some projects like Sled Zeppelin take 6 months to build the beginning of it. But like Ryan has said, over the last year, they've been fine tuning it and getting it ready to travel with and everything like that. Same thing with sled builds or life in general. Building your life is, you chisel away at it and you just get after it. And you don't let off, because the second you let off, you really become overwhelmed. You have to surround yourself with the people that are in the same mindset as you. There's a lot of things to it. You don't let off. You don't give up. Even when you do get knocked down, you keep going. No matter where you're at, you keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, definitely, that's that positive mindset, and it's not a competition. That's the main thing. It might be between friends or this and that, and it could be a friendly competition, but it's not like, oh, this person's so much more disciplined or in shape or creative or a better rider or whatever it is. It's all about kind of where you're at and what, strength and weaknesses. And you can easily do that just step at a time in your own life. And that's so stereotypical and cliche to say and to sit here and talk about that, but it's true, man. It's so true. And even with a project like Sled Zeppelin or your fitness journey or your pro riding career journey, whatever it is, I mean, you don't start out, you don't get a snowmobile, you don't start out flipping the thing, you don't start out. So it's like, it's a step at a time. It's a season at a time. It's with Sled Zeppelin, it was, a small piece at a time. And, if you don't look at this big picture and you go, oh my God, there's all this, I can't do it. And, you look at this much of it, it's way easier to comprehend. And at least for me, that's how I do it. And it's different for everybody, you know.
Yeah.
I can honestly say that it's some people need to see the whole thing and wrap their head around the whole thing before they go into it. If I do that, I'm overwhelmed. I can't even begin to do that. You know, and that's what's kind of cool about the 75 hard is if you relate that to Sled Zeppelin in a way, it gives you some guidelines. It's like, you know, 2 45-minute workouts, drink a gallon of water, you know, blah, blah. And so there's these things. It's like, okay, it's a little bit at a time. And it's not like you got to go run an Ironman, you know. It's not like, okay, I'm going to do a marathon right off the bat. It's whatever it is. And it doesn't specify, so it's 2 45-minute workouts. It doesn't specify what those are or anything. It's just get out there and do it. And that can be, you know, for someone that's super fit, it could be a gnarly 45-minute workout. For somebody that's trying to get into shape, it could be barely rowing on a rowing machine or walking on a treadmill. It really is just a piece at a time. So, you know, I try to do that with riding too. I mean, comparatively, you know, Scott even and Cody, you're still kind of in your prime, you know, young, but I mean, coming into this, when I started really getting into the sport and getting picked up with sponsors and stuff, it was pretty late. I was like 30 years old. I mean, that's relatively late in the big scheme of things, you know. So I'm late to the party, but hey, I'm here partying.
Heck yeah, I love that. That's my new favorite thing. I said it a lot last year on the mountain. Is, you know, when we pull up and you kind of break, you assess where you want to head, what you want to do, how you're going to traverse through a situation. Every time I said it, I'm like, let's party. And, you know, I said, stop saying, let's go. And that's a little, it was me doing it. I don't know. Other people kind of picked on it. I didn't invent it, but it was a way in my mind I hated the word let's go. Like, let's go. It's like, well, let's go doesn't really work for me. You know, let's party. Let's go have some fun right now. And this is going to be a crap section that we're going to probably get stuck 900 times and have to deal with that. But let's make it a party, man. We're all stuck in a hole. Well, we might as well all be stuck down in a hole toger and figure out how to get out. Let's party.
75 hard minutes of digging, man. I've been there. I mean, last year, I specifically remember, and you just put a post on Instagram a couple of days ago about how you were frustrated on this particular day that we were riding, and it was so deep that we could barely go anywhere. And we were we're on the best machines that there is out there, and new machines and the best equipment, and you know, you're still barely getting around, and you're going, not this year. Well, I specifically remember that day, and that day was really gnarly. It was, and I specifically remember at the end of the day royally screwing all my buddies over by going down that drainage. And we spent like the better part of like 3 or 4 hours at the end of the day, after we're already all cooked, getting out, and we were just leapfrogging, getting stuck, climbing up this hill until finally we got out. But yeah, no, I specifically remember that, and so I was cracking up about that post. But it's true, man. Yeah.
And like those situations, those are so easy to get just insanely worked up over, and basically put yourself in a deeper hole than you're already in.
No, it was as deep as it gets, man.
It's true that. I don't think it could have gone
been that stuck, honestly, in my entire life. Like that was the epitome of as bad as it gets when it comes to getting stuck. There was just no good way out, and I mean, we did it. We got out. You know, we're here. We're not icicles, so.
I know, and here I am. And honestly, it's not fun getting up at 4:30 in the morning to go outside. And it's like, I'm excited. It's supposed to drop down in the low 30s and 20s over the next week. So like, I am literally looking forward to putting myself in that position that we are stuck in that, and going out at 4:30 in the morning and get my 45 minutes in. You know, like you said, I'm not going to be running 100%, but I'm going to be doing everything I can in that most challenging situation I can be in, to where I can train my brain to be prepared for when it really, really matters.
It's what it is, you know. I mean, I remember riding with Cody a couple years ago, you know, in Alpine, and it's just so different. And that's another cool thing about snowmobiling is Tahoe snows one way, Alpine snows another way. It's, you know, you could be rad in Tahoe snow, and you get to Alpine snow, and it's like totally different, and vice versa. It's just different conditions. But I remember just going out there and going, okay, like the mountains are so much more grandiose, I guess is a good word.
It's massive.
Yeah, I mean, you're in Tahoe, you're on big mountains, and they're big and they're wide. In Alpine, you're on big mountains that are very narrow, and you're going like up and down things like this. And I remember, you know, like our mountains are this is a good way to describe our mountains, you know. And then you've got these mountains, and those are the Wyoming mountains. And that's another reason why avalanche safety is so diligently taught there and anywhere, but it's crucial in those environments where, you know, the pitch is steeper and the snow is lighter. And that's why, unfortunately, we lose a lot more riders every year in that section of the world, of the states where the snow is, you know, a little bit more dangerous than we do in Tahoe. I mean, we do get slides in Tahoe, but we don't get them like Alpine gets them, you know, and we don't get them like Idaho gets them. And it's you got to be careful everywhere. But that, I just remember riding with Cody, and I was like, man. And actually, Cameron was there too on that particular.
Yeah,
and we were just talking about, like, man, it's crazy. Like, we've gone up and over 4 mountains that are just like this, as opposed to in Tahoe, we ride up and over a section of mountain that could take, you know, an hour, and we've been over 4 different mountains in an hour, and so that's cool, and it's just different.
It's adrenaline rush for sure. You really never know what you're gonna get riding in Alpine. You can literally drop into a ravine or drop over the backside of something, and if you do it wrong, you might not be seen again.
I mean, that mistakes happen, you know, and it's about trying to mitigate those, and it's just simple facts. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems a lot different out there, you know, than it is in Tahoe. It's just it's very grandiose. That's it. The mountains are right there, and they're steep, and they're in your face. And Tahoe's got the views and the awesome terrain, and they both have, you know, super cool things to offer. But every time I go to Alpine, man, I'm just like,
in the blue sky.
Yeah, blue sky.
That's one thing I'm really looking forward to this winter, is coming to ride with you guys in Tahoe and just going to go look. Scott, you posted up a photo a while ago where you're jumping over the lake, and dude, I want to see that view. You know, like, you guys come out here and you see the view we get to look at all the time, but I want to start adventuring, you know, towards you guys and see those views and experience your guys' terrain, because it is different. You know, the snow is completely different. And like Ryan said, you know, out here is one thing, out there is a totally different thing. And I'm excited to come ride with you guys this winter and jump over that lake just like you did.
That's a cool spot. I actually missed out on that day. Scott commented. That was my sled in that photo, but it's all right.
We talked about that last week.
Yeah, no, that's.
I'm pretty sure it was that might have been the day you decided to go COVID prepare or something, or you were beat up, or you were, I don't know,
there was no COVID at that.
You dropped some sort of an excuse, I think, that I let you slide on.
No, I think it was I had wrecked my hip riding with Cameron the week before when I.
That's what it was.
Yeah, so I was kind of injured, but that looked like a rad day, and that's cool about Tahoe is you can actually be like, oh, let's go over there, and you can see it. You know, Alpine, you're like, unless you know what's over there, you're not going over there. So that's why it's fun to ride with somebody that knows the terrain, that's seen it on one of the rare sunny days that is there. But Tahoe, you can normally, normally see where you're going, at least a better part of the season.
Well, that's good to know because here it's a lot of snow and
Blue Dirt says he'll go with you. He's coming with you.
Yeah, Mike, right there in the comments, and yeah, absolutely, Mike. Let's go. I'm actually getting ready to build a sled for Mike as we speak. We're building a cat chassis with 1,000 motor in it, and it's going to be an interesting project. It was actually my sled from 2 years ago, and he's a good friend of mine, and I want to get him on a new chassis, and we're going to build him something cool. So
nice.
Well, right on, Mike. Your stoke's going up. I did see that that comment that you're getting him on a new sled.
Yep. Yeah. He definitely deserves it. He's definitely put on some good miles with me over the years, and we're getting him off that old M series and bringing him onto a new one. So
speaking of which, who's the guy that we rode with 2 years ago with the mullet?
Dalton,
dude, I still talk about that guy. That guy, he's a absolute beast. He was on that. I think he was on a 600, right?
I think he was on my 600 mod.
Yeah, dude, that guy is a slayer, and you just like totally wouldn't even know. He's wearing like spider ski gear, and the dude mullet, and he was wearing like some freaking Payless gloves, and I'm like, Cody's bringing this dude out, and I'm like, oh my god, like we are gonna be in some shit today. And dude, this kid ends up just slaying it like harder than any of us really that day. He was on a 600 and he was just shrouping the mountain, like totally owned the thing. And he's on an old 600 with some like spider gear and a mullet, and he's just crushing. And I still talk about that guy. That's the first time I ever met him. I haven't ridden with him since, but dude, that guy's a legend, and we need to get that guy out here because he's kind of like a Joe Gill, and
totally different world of Joe Gill.
So same type of situation, like Joe Gill, another dude that I absolutely like, just totally think is rad. The guy goes out on like early 2000s M chassis sleds, and God knows if you'll even make it out of the parking lot, you know. But if you do with Joe Gill, you're gonna be switching something in the backcountry, and the guy shreds. There's just like there's no way around it. So
But that's it. Here's what I hate. I hope maybe he's watching. He tunes in and follows my stuff. So it's one thing I definitely admire about him, and he's faced with his set of circumstances. Granted, he's hard-headed as that, you know, marble countertop in that kitchen we have, probably. But he's faced with a certain set of circumstances, and he's diehard passionate about it and has an absolute blast with the deck of cards he has currently, and that is unbeatable. You can't buy, and I'm not going in the talent, I'm going in the happiness. Like, you know, you could have all the shiny widgets, gadgets, and gidgets and still go out on the hill and have a miserable time where he relentlessly takes if he gets out of the parking lot, which I've rode with him twice where he didn't, he has an absolute.
He picked up a nice
absolute blast.
I think he's on a new Skidoo. So
I saw that.
We have We have some kind hearts up here in Tahoe. Some friends of ours that set him up on a new sled this year, and somebody tag him in the comments right now, minute 53. So we're not talking about him, but definitely going to be interesting seeing him getting on the new chassis. Like it's going to be exciting.
That's the thing. That's the thing. It ain't going to matter. Like he'll figure it out.
No.
That dude, he has a good time and he doesn't care what he's on. I mean, dude, some of those sleds are wicked old and clapped out. and he knows it, and he's got like 7 others in pieces in his driveway, and he'll like swap them around and make, whatever one he needs to run for the day run or whatever. But dude, that guy goes out and he kills it. Like he's an incredible rider, and the stoke is high. And so you put those two things together, like even though he's on old equipment, it doesn't matter. Like I'll ride with that dude any day of the week for sure.
He's got a smile on his face all the time when he's riding behind that helmet. You know that, right? And that's what makes Joe Gill so great to ride with. And I have not personally rode with Joe Gill, but the conversations I've had with people through all the snow shows and everything like that, like just makes me love Joe Gill that much more. I can't wait to ride with him. And yeah, I'm just imagine Joe on his sled. I'm
looking at some of the comments too, and I'm seeing Cameron saying getting the sled back is the problem. So that's like the other thing is like riding with Joe Gill is always a 2-day event. It's one day of going out and it's another coming back. And so like you get double the fun always with Joe Gill.
Yeah.
Hopefully not this year. Hopefully you can ride 2 solid days consecutive, like in and out, because I know Cam had like a hell of a time last year in DLI back in Castle with one of Joe's sleds. So yeah.
I had quite the experience back in Castle Peak as well. My sled went down in one of the back bowls. Definitely a 3-day adventure getting that one out. But that all comes with riding old equipment and also sinking it in the lake and then thinking it was going to run. I don't know. Weird.
Yeah. You'll have that. Yeah, the old boys that own the snow. One of our guys just commented too that he knows someone like that. That's killer. Those old guys that just kill it.
Chris Johnson. It's an adventure.
It is. It always is, dude. It always is. That dude, he does not disappoint on the adventure side of anything. So,
well, that's what snowmobiling really is, man. And it's an adventure every time we go out. We never know what we're going to get into. And that's the passion behind it for me. That's what makes me continue to go so hard every year with it. Is just, it's never the same. Something different every time we go ride. And
absolutely
straight passion for me, even in the shit of the shit. I love every minute of it.
I love,
and that's something we kind of touched on it earlier. I want to get back. That's something a person can practice all year long. Like, and you think about fitness, you think about, and I hate to circle back to the mental toughness deal, but it's insane. And I think only snowmobilers, really know the feeling, but you can apply it to anybody out on dirt bikes or, buried in the business. It's being able to keep the attitude and keep the reason you're stuck in the hole and down in the ditch, and keep the attitude and keep the passion positive when it's the most challenging, when your guys are dependent on you more than ever. And it's something you can be conscious. And I would say, it's a bit of a mindset thing that you can work on throughout the year, and job and your career and daily life and relationships. It's finding ways and strategies to kind of keep that level playing field and not let emotion overtake, the current situation. That's only a blip of an eye. I would say I'm going to throw this one to Ryan. What are some ways that you found, like, because there's the times that you want to throw the wrench across the shop, and it happens. We all get overtaken with that kind of emotion type feeling. What are some things your strategies you use to bring yourself back into the moment, and like assess, reevaluate, and continue on?
Well, I throw the wrench across the shop for starters. No joke. I've done that. It's like sometimes you just got to get that shit out, and yell. I've done that. I'm guilty of that, but you're not going to solve the problem by throwing the wrench across the shop. So, so to speak. So, it's just a matter of again, breaking it down. Okay. Like, this is a great example. The hydraulic door, or the electric door rather, on the back of Sled Zeppelin, the ramp door, that was like, out of all the things on Sled Zeppelin, believe it or not, the mechanical, the adding an axle, the building a motor home on top of the chassis, like, out of everything, the thing that gave me the most shit was the ramp door. And I failed designing that ramp door. I'm not even kidding. 7 or 8 times, and not the door itself, but the mechanism that lifts it up. The winch, my harder freight winch, to my garage door pulleys, to my sprocket, to the cables that go down and hook it. Like, I could not get that right. And at the very end of it, I was like so over the. I'm like, if this last time, like, if this does not work, this thing is a manual door. I'm just gonna have 6 of my buddies every time I ride help me lift this thing up, and I'm gonna latch it, because this isn't worth it. Like, it was dangerous, dude. That door weighs like 200 pounds, and it would just like wham, like slam down on the ground, like, hey, we're here. Like, it was gnarly, and if anybody was underneath that,
like that literally is in the comments right now.
Dude, you are smoked. Yeah, there you go. So I think he was actually at the house, my girlfriend's house at the time, when I was like, check this out, I got the garage door going. It's all bang, and it just like fell open, and everyone's like, oh my God. Like, dude, if anybody was underneath that, like, you're smoked. You're totally smoked. So the long story short is, like, I moved the drums out. I freaking lengthened the cables. I moved the position of where the cables are attached to the actual door forward and backwards. And I got bigger drums, and I got a bigger sprocket. Initially, I was thinking I was, kind of mimicking a dirt bike. I had a smaller sprocket on the winch and a big one on the rod. Well, that's like overdrive. So what that does, that's the gearing I wanted, just opposite. I wanted the big one needs to be on the drive portion to slow the gears down. So these are trial and error. I mean, I thought I knew what I was doing. This door hauled ass. Like, it would go down. like it was just like so fast and violent. And anyways, long story short, it broke like 6 times, 7 times maybe. And I, at the end of it, did kick a wrench across the shop. And I think I got it. I hope I got it, because it's heavy, and at the end of the day, like, it's gonna suck to lift up. But I think it works good now, and that's just the thing. I wasn't gonna let that freaking door beat me, man. That was like, out of all the things on Sled Zeppelin, like the garage door. Like, come on, But it is what it is.
Simple, but it just kicks your ass.
Yeah, and it was like, dude, we added an axle. We added airbags, like, to like off a Freightliner. Like, we put a turbo in a doghouse that didn't even belong in there, and then we intercooled it. Like, we did some gnarly shit. And like, out of all the things that we did, the garage door, like, that shit was so frustrating, and you look at everything else, and like the plumbing and just all the electrical, And it's like so involved. And if someone looks at that garage door, they're like, it's cool. You know, I'm like most proud of the garage door. Like that it works. It's rad. Like everyone's like, it's cool. I'm like, the garage door works too. You know, it's pretty awesome. Like
it's like when you're doing that remodel. It's like when you're doing that remodel on a house or whatever, and you keep passing by and you're like, oh, that corner we're going to finish there. It's probably going to be an issue. We'll get to it. And it's, you know, you're focused on the big masterpiece of a kitchen, if you will. And then you build yourself into that corner and then you're like, oh, snap. This is not going to be an easy fix. Attention, I would say it's the attention, probably the attention to the last thing.
Yeah, and it wasn't even like it wasn't necessarily even the last thing. It was just one small piece of everything, and it ended up being the last thing because it was the last thing that worked properly. But the whole premise of the build, the whole idea was built around this like badass garage, right? Like a sled hauler. So like, I mean, if you think about that, like the garage door is almost like the focal point of the whole build. It was like, ta-da! Like, here's my snowmobiles out of my school bus. Like, it was more like here's my so they're like dragging behind the bus. Like, so, you know, we had to fine tune that. I think we got it. Like I said, I hope we got it, man. Like, it's working good. It's worked for like 10 times in a row now, which is like 9 times more than it's worked in a row every other time. So I think we're stoked.
I knew we were going to talk about Zeppelin a lot. So what I'm going to have to do probably, and I think I can do, you guys had that video edit made up. I believe I can circle back and throw the link to that video in the comments. So people can really get a visual of what you took on.
We need to kind of relaunch it this year. I'm gonna be doing that as well and kind of getting it resubmitted. I worked with a lot of awesome sponsors, people that stepped up.
Yes.
That didn't even. I mean, they just like heard the concept. I pitched it to them, and they were like, "Dude, I'm in." D&D Audio was one of those people. Caliber Products was another one. Did the graphics guys. I mean. It was just like, as soon as people like heard it, they're like, all right, I can get behind that. Like that's something I'll throw some money at or throw some product at, you know? So the only thing we need now is a fuel sponsor, 3 miles a gallon, maybe 5.
Yeah.
We do have 160 gallons. So no matter what we'll get to you, Cody, it's just going to be really expensive. So I don't know.
I mean, that, and I touched on this earlier. It's you communicated your vision. If you would have kept that bottled in and been like, well, I'm going to hold it in until it's done to talk about it or do it, those sponsors, those people wouldn't have the opportunity to get behind you and support you. And that's what I again, back to Cody is talking about, telling people your goals, telling people that struggle, just opening up with so much of the crap that us dudes honestly just try to bury inside. People want to buy into visions and believe in other people, and talking about that is. I
pull my from other people. I mean, I give credit where credit's due. Cam, my buddy Cam he was the one that was like, he called me and he was like, I got some school buses. I'm building a sled hauler, and I'm like, that's all right. Like, sweet. He's like, there's an extra one. Like, do you want one? I'm like, yep. Like, sucker when he sees one, like if you take a look around my shop, you're like, oh yeah, he's good for a school bus for sure. But it's like, I don't know. That wasn't my idea for sure. That wasn't even in my realm, and he did one that we got to play that one up game, but they're totally different too. And they're both equally as cool. And they're just, his has already made it to
dude. I 100% agree.
Yeah. His already made it to Island Park and back. So, I mean, I got to say that like, that's a lot further than mine's gone. And so until mine makes it to Island Park or Alpine and back, I can't really talk on that, but I think it's going to do it this year. We weren't quite finished last year, so I think we're ready to go. But I mean, I hope to God it gets better than 5 miles a gallon. That would be really cool.
Not good. It really doesn't.
No, I guess it doesn't. It's just a matter of like, funding those long trips are that much more. But see, that's why I did it that way is I'm going to be able to bring 4 guys with me. I can pull a trailer. And so like we can all party together. Like, let's all load up. It's going to be cheaper than all of us driving separately for sure. And we'll all be together in the bus and it'll be a party. So yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to.
The journey, man. And I talked about this with my cousin
too. No one else has driven it yet, man. I will say that I'm the only one that's driven it. Everyone's like, dude, I'm not driving that thing. Is huge. It is. I got a commercial license, so like I'm used to driving some big stuff, but that thing is big for anybody, and I need some backup. Someone's got to step up and be like, "Yo, I'll take second shift so that you can sleep," and then we're good to go.
You gotta come out to Wyoming now.
Yeah,
I don't know if you can sleep when that thing's on the go. You need those noise canceling headphones.
Noise canceling headphones, and I guarantee you that mattress that's in there is super comfortable. You'll be asleep real quick.
I mean, definitely. I told you she's pissed off. She is every bit.
She is a mean woman.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I know we've been jamming on this for
Scott's gone.
I think I'm about ready to shut it off. So I want to give some final thoughts here. Everybody will do a little bit of a round table and wrap it up. Keep it short, quick, 2 minutes. Any shout outs you want to do, go ahead and do them too. This is it's really fun. We might have to get back together when we got all our bugs worked out, but final thoughts as a fabricator, both Cody and Ryan, you guys take on unbelievable projects. Quick 2 minutes. What's the best advice? You got somebody that's got a new goal. They want to start a business. They want to build a sled this year. They want to build sled Zeppelin. Go. We'll go with Ryan first.
I mean, again, I'm going to circle back to just small chunks, chiseling little pieces off the block. Do it a little bit at a time. It doesn't need to be all at once. You don't need to tackle the whole thing. I can't do it that way. So I don't know if anybody else can, but I'd like to meet them. If you could show me somebody that goes, okay, I'll take sled Zeppelin and this is how it's got to be. And this goes here and this is this dimension. And you need this plumbing to run this way and this electrical to go that way. And it all going to work great. Dude, give me that guy's number or that girl's number. Cause that would be killer. I'd love to meet them. So small pieces, a little bit at a time and you'll get it done. Just, there's no problems. There's only solutions. That's my thing.
That was very, very well said, Ryan.
Bomb. Cody.
Speaking from experience here, I started high altitude with this vision and this dream, and I thought I had it all planned out and everything was just going to work so well. And because I tried to do it the exact opposite of what Ryan just said, and I just tried to put everything together all at once and not take the small steps and chisel away at it. I literally just jumped in feet first and was like, here we go. It was super overwhelming. And I forgot, to chisel away at things very small, like I should have, like I have with my career of snowmobiling. It's taken 10 years to get to where I'm at today in the industry. And, you just got to take the one step at a time and stay driven, stay motivated, and look at a bigger picture but smaller, all in the same aspect.
Excellent. And honestly, my biggest thing, and I've talked about it on my Instagram today, is, and I'm stealing it from a book from Andy Frisella, is being able to master the monotony. Uh, Whether it's business, whether it's a build, it becomes extremely monotonous. You go out to the same spot every day and you're doing the same grind over and over, and it just seems like you're not getting anywhere, because if you're not making those small adjustments, you just master that monotony. And a quote from Bruce Lee that I'm going to leave everybody with is, don't fear the guy that has done 1,000 kicks one time. Fear the guy that's done one kick 1,000 times. And with that, everybody, I got to say, stay driven no matter where you're at, no matter what you're up against. There is a solution there. The challenge is being able to find it. Bring your network in, talk about it, reach out, maybe reach outside of your network, preferably reach up for that advice. And you can get past it. So I want to thank everybody for dealing with the technical difficulties tonight. Stay driven, stay positive. If you're feeling down, somebody out there is looking to pick you up. So reach out to them. Have a great night. We'll see you on the other side.